Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bhedu Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarastu Andhakaro Vai Rukarastu Nivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravabhai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we have spent quite a bit of time on this one stage, one step of the Nididhyasanam called Drishti Sthiti. And I think this is a very important step. So that's why we have spent some time. So let's wrap it up, and I think that we'll go to the next one next week. It may not even take half hour today, we'll see. So if we look at, let's see. Or the tip of your nose, nasa agra nasau agra means the front of the nose, the tip of the nose. So sometimes it all depends on how big your nose is. So sometimes yogis, even Bhagavad Gita in that part of the teaching, says that you should just focus your drishti on just one thing. And by the way, in the beginning, this is not a insignificant advice. It should really be thought about. Even our teachers used to say, I remember Swami Dayanandji, that was very helpful to me. And what Swami Dayanandji used to say was that one of the first things you should do when you start to meditate is to make sure that your entire body is still. And even if you're not in meditation, in the normal course of the day, you should see how you are acting, how involuntarily you are moving. What are you doing in terms of movement? Sometimes just last night, my wife and I had gone out for dinner at an Indian dosa place. And this young man sitting next to me was, and I see this very often, they're moving their legs like this all the time, like this. Or something, what will happen is there's involuntary scratching. If you have some issue with, something, it's okay to scratch. But then people are moving involuntarily without realizing. And so this is an expression that the drishti is not sthira. Your mind also, so the mind and the body are both indicative of the same thing. If your body itself is uncontrolled, then your mind also tends to be uncontrolled. And so in order to break, the main issue is not to make the body completely silent. The main thing is to keep the mind silent. But the body is a more easy expression of the in Hindi called chanchalta. Chanchalta means the one which is fickleness, moving around and so on. So I remember Swami Dayanandji, just to go back to it, and this is the first time when I really sort of practiced this. He says that learn to keep your body. He was much less concerned about, having a straight back and so on and so forth. Everybody has their own way of explaining, and I kind of agree with that. When I meditate, it's not that I'm just looking like this and so on. Sometimes I'm just relaxed. Sometimes I meditate with my hand, my face in my hand. And so in a way, what this verse is saying is endorsing that. It is not that where you are looking and so on and so forth. Where you should be looking we'll see in a minute. But all I'm saying is it's not necessary for you to make your body so straight looking at something. Instead, what Swami Dayanand used to say was, just be aware of the fact that your body may just be moving, and so it doesn't, and you should really have a voluntary control over it. And so you should look at your own body and say, is it quiet? Good. Does it want to move? Not good. At least during the meditation. And then this habit also occurs in the rest of the day, where you are much more aware of the stillness of your body, which is a upalakshana for the stillness of your mind. And so this is the stillness is the important one. But here, this is in the initial stages. In the advanced stages is the advice given in verse number 117. Drishti darshana drishtyanam viramo yatra va bhavet sa drishtihi tatra kartavya. So he says, your place to reside, your goal is to be looking. Looking means not through the eyes, but to fulfill your state where the seer, seen, and seeing, this triputi, these three ways of looking at things, and the same thing is true for hearing, hearer, and heard, all five of them. All of these triputis dissolve in which? that should be your place of looking. That is where you should reside during meditation, and meditation is just the beginning. Then after a while, when we become really advanced, then what we are mastering during meditation becomes natural for the rest of the day as well. And so where it should reside, really speaking, and this is to be done through the mind, is where you focus on. Focus is a good word in that sense. You don't concentrate. Concentration is not a good word. Concentration means tightness and so some, no. It's just a pure focus and a natural focus. The natural focus should be the place where all three dissolve. And this has to be where it dissolves is to be taught. Because in the beginning, if you look at the beginning of the study, then what happens? What are the alternatives? The alternatives are you have your eyes open, and when you have your eyes open, you see all the details in the room around you. You can see you can hear. For example, I can hear because it's cold and so the heater is on, and I can hear the heater. You may not be able to hear that, I don't know. But I can hear the heater, and I can see the details of the room. So you're saying, well, I can see the details of the room. Okay, then you close your eyes, and what you see is darkness. And so you see light and you see darkness. These are the two states that you see. As you become aware of the teaching, you then grow to be aware of your thoughts. Your eyes may be open, your eyes may be closed, it doesn't matter. And this is exactly what happens. If you look at the day, you are actually looking at your thoughts most of the time. In some cases, the details of the room determine your thoughts. In other cases, they don't. You're just thinking. With your eyes open also, is exactly how we do it when we are talking to each other. We'll say, oh, I met my friend the other day. We had not seen each other for 50 years. We had a college reunion. And so you are visualizing all of this and talking. So these are all thoughts. Or, you can just close your eyes and you can say, that was a good thing that we did today. In fact, just before you go to sleep, for example, or even during the dream, you have your eyes closed and you're thinking. And so all of these are intermediate stages. Either the details of the room, darkness, the thoughts of the mind, and so on. Then as the teaching of the Shastra through the Vedas, the Vedanta takes place, you start to focus on the self. Because in the beginning, until it is introduced, you don't know what self is. What do you mean by the self? What is Atma? What is Paramatma? You have no idea. So you are only going to be thinking about things that you are aware of, that you know. You don't know the Atma. But as the teaching progresses, and it says, please look at your Atma. And what is the Atma? The Atma is where the Triputi rises from and dissolves. The Triputi meaning all the three: seer, seen, seeing, hearing, heard, hearing, hearer, hearing, etc. All five sense organs. Be aware of the fact where it is coming out from and where is it dissolving. And for this you don't need either to keep your eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter. This exploration, this focus is irrespective of where your sense organs are, what they are doing. In the beginning, yes, you have a difficulty in separating what the sense organs are doing as to where they are going and coming from. But eventually, in the case of the Mahatmas, and this is where we are aspiring to go to, it doesn't matter. What, just because, supposing you are watching a Mahatma, and Mahatma means one who has understood the whole thing very well and has really executed it in his or her life. So this is where we have to see who is a Mahatma. We don't know. And so the best thing is to read the descriptions of it. I should bring that book for you that I've been reading. What a wonderful book it is, in Hindi, of course. But it describes the life and the thinking and the attitude of all the Mahatmas. Scores of them, not just one or two. Literally 20, 30, 40 Mahatmas, I haven't even counted. So the question is, where are they focused on? Where they're focused on is, and as I've been saying this is just a part of that, is not what you are seeing, but how and by what you are seeing. That is the Atma. So this is what this verse is saying. Drishti darshana drisyanam viramaha yatra va bhavet. Viramaha means the resting point. So it's just like, the normal example that we've been given, that instead of instead of being focused on the ornaments, be focused on what the ornaments are made out of. Just think about it. My goodness, it does not affect form, where the forms can dissolve. So similarly in our life also, what we have to do is to see what is the source of all my experiences. There is a source. This is what Kena Upanishad also say, that by what the mind is working, by what force something is making it happen. Who is that person? So he says, sa drishti tatra eva kartavya. That is what you should be doing, is to really focus on the source of all three of them. And so that is the waking up process. That's exactly what happens in our dream. That in the dream we have an experience that I am a dreamer, I am dreaming the following things, I am I'm a person in the dream, I'm looking at other people on the dream, and there is an experience of that I am undergoing. Dream is an experience. And so what it happens is that you have certain emotions, certain thoughts, you become a bhokta. You become a karta and a bhokta. Karta means a doer in the dream. Oh, I need to do this. I'm going to do this. I have to meet certain people. And then as you're going, you hit something and you get upset. So there is kartritvam, there is bhoktritvam, there is otherness, there is you. All these are forms of the Triputis alone. All of them are really false. They are just an appearance. Why? Because all three of them, the dreaming person, the dreamt people, the situations, the emotions, the sukha dukkha, all are nothing but the person who is awake. With it all in the status of the awake person, everything disappears. Exactly the same thing needs to happen, where my experience as a doer, as an enjoyer, as a separate person, as an experiencer, as a seer, as a hearer, as a toucher, all of that may go on. Is the difference between a dream and waking. In the dream, when the dream goes, everything goes. But in the waking, you make it false. You make it false. You falsify it. Pardon me. So basically it's a process of falsification. Falsification means that it appears as a separate entity. What I'm seeing appears to be a separate entity, including my own status as a person, as a limited person that has capability of seeing and moving and walking and so on. You falsify that too, because there is something on which it is based out of, on something where it comes out of, and something that it dissolves in. While you are awake, that falsification, which in Sanskritam is called badhaha, badhaha, badhita anuvritti. This is an important thing, that the Jivan Muktas, it's as though they know there is nothing going on. This is the blueness of the sky. Once you know that the sky itself is, the space is cannot take color, then even when you see color, this is what is called badhita anuvritti. Badhita anuvritti means the thought. Anuvritti is an interesting word. Anu means following something. Anubhava. Anubhava means experience. So, like let's take anuvritti and anubhava are pretty much similar in that sense. So anubhava means experience. Experience means something happens, something is seen. But what is your lasting impression of that is called anubhava. So let's take the example that you see the blueness of the space. So this is bhava. This is bhavati iti bhavaha, one which is happening, one which is there, which is pratyaksha. So this is the blueness of the sky. But anubhava means the experience of the blue space. You see, this is called anubhava. And same thing is true for anuvritti. Vritti means a thought. So the thought follows the experience, and you say this is a blue space. But a person that knows that space cannot be blue has badita anuvritti. You see now, this is the thing. This is called badita anuvritti. Badita anuvritti means that the anuvritti, which is the series of thoughts that follows a particular pratyaksha. You see the blueness of the sky, which is a pratyaksha, but your conclusion is separate from that. And the conclusion could be either, my goodness, the sky is blue, as we have discussed it. This is where the analogy for a young kid that doesn't know and an adult that knows is a big one. But in the case of the adult, in fact, our acharyas say that if you just observe the sky, it has so many changes to it. Sometimes it is dark, you can't see it. Sometimes you can see it, but it is blue. Sometimes it is it's cloudy, sometimes it is dusty, it has pollution. But all of these are superimpositions. The space itself doesn't change at all. So this is what is called badita anuvritti. So the badita anuvritti means that even when you see it, you do not conclude this is how it is. So in the case of a jnani, then the separateness of the world from you has been badita. Even though there is appearance of separateness, but like the blueness of the sky, it is badita, badha. So you falsify it. Badha means falsification. So there's a difference between absence and falsification. This is the difference between a yogic samadhi and a nididhyasanam. In a yogic samadhi, the attempt is to not see it. Absence of thought is a yogic samadhi. Whereas nididhyasanam is not the absence of thought, but the falsification of the thought. That's the difference. And freedom comes from falsification, not absence. Why not? Because the absence of thought is very dependent. It is dependent on time. It is dependent on conditions. It has to be right. Samadhi has to be there. It's not the freedom that Vedanta teaches. Vedanta teaches whether it is there or not there, you look at the reality of it. And so this is what this teaches. There's a couple of more things I want to do, but perhaps I can just wrap it up. I think we have talked enough, and we'll refer back to it. So I would end by saying, and there is so much more to it, this is just the start of it and so on, that the end attitude, and I mentioned this in the last class also, the end attitude of the end state, rather, not end attitude, but the attitude in the ending state of a person has 4 parts to it. Different aspects of this, not 4 parts to it, 4 aspects to it. There is nothing to be done in my life. There is nothing to know in my life. There is nothing to gain in my life and nothing to discard in my life. Because if you observe our lives, we are controlled by these 4 factors. I've got to do something. I don't know enough. I have to know some more. I have to gain a sense of satisfaction. And I have to leave some of the problems in my life. This is what we are concerned with all the time. And it is due to the fact that I am fully engaged in Triputi all the time. It's like I'm dreaming. So this is the end attitude. And so when the drishti is given to the content of all of them, these are all false. But if I look at the content of all of them, which is the very conscious state, turiya, from which the Triputi comes up and goes back again, I'm free. Atma Jnanam, there is nothing to be done, nothing to be known, nothing to be gained, nothing to be discarded. I am just the way I am complete. That is the drishti that we must at least aspire to. We may not get there right away. It is okay. But the aspiration must be accurate. Not any other focusing on things and so on. So I think we will wrap up the drishti sthiti aspect of nididhyasanam with this. So, and we'll go to pranayama in the next class. Okay? All right. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakrama Upanishadaihi Gayantiyam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tatkatena Manasa Pashyantiyam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidusura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. So in the Bhagavad Gita, we were reviewing verses numbers 27 and 28. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad appariharye arthe natvam shochitum arhasi avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. So here Sri Krishna is teaching Arjuna, listen, you are you're grieving about things that really don't have any reality. You don't need to do that. Yeah, we saw I think the analogy here is that of a balloon bursting for a child. The balloon was not there and then we make it for you and you're just enjoy it. But if it bursts, then let it go. Because more balloons will come. If you're completely tied to it, then you are unnecessarily grieving. And so there we saw there was another factor. So there are two factors here. One is that things can be things that come and go are really false. They are not worth your time. It's going to apariharyarte. Apariharya means it is going to happen. People are going to be born, people are going to die, you are going to get attached to them, and it's going to cause problem. All that is just nothing you can do about it. And so you can do something about which is permanent. Your drishti should be towards timelessness, not time-boundness. This is what he's saying. So there we saw, we already looked at all this. There we saw in Swami Shankarananda's commentary, he was talking about the word avyakta. Avyakta means one which is not manifest. And he had given two meanings of the avyakta. The first one, which we spent some time on, which was that avyakta stands for the Maya Shakti. Right? So this is explained in the top of the second paragraph of the verse of page number 76. He says, Nama Rupa Gunadibhihi na vyajyate iti avyaktam iti maya. So there the thought was that you will never see the Maya directly in front of you. You'll never be able to make it visible to yourself. But it is a Shakti that you should be aware of. We saw the example that you may not be able to see the wind, but you can feel it. You can feel it because on a very windy day it touches your skin and the leaves are moving. So surely there is an effect. But by itself it doesn't move. It just has the power to make things move. So that's what he's saying. Nama Rupa Gunadibihi na vyajyate. Vyajyate means that it does not become evident to you directly. Iti maya. So sakashadadi janma yesham tani avyaktadini. So he says that the one, therefore we can say that the avyaktadini means that things that belong to Maya, that are a result of Maya, are called avyaktadini. Maya means what? Maya means false. We know we were talking about falsification. So false means It is not something that has any reality. That's what the Maya Shakti is. So we talked about this. I think this is one thing that we should keep in mind, is that the Maya makes dead people alive. Really, the very definition of a dead person is that you cannot make it alive. Otherwise, you will not call it dead. Dead means gone. The doctor can come in and feel the pulse and so on. Gone. This is what happened to my older sister. She was taking some inhaler for her asthma, and the inhaler was on, and the nurse who was sitting next to her kind of waited and waited and waited for 10 minutes. Normally my sister would take it for about 7-8 minutes and then take it off, and she was not taking it off. So she says, "What is happening?" And her eyes were closed, her head was like this. And so she got alarmed. She woke up some other people. They all came in and so on. She says, "He's gone. No pulse. The body was still warm, but pretty soon it starts to get cold. Gone. The Atma is no longer connected to this particular body. Gone. This is called the dead body." So you cannot revive a dead body in reality, in the reality of the thing. But in the dream state, as it happens, I often dream about my parents and so on. I talk to my dad, I talk to my mom. They're alive. I deal with them. Why are you doing this? You shouldn't have done this, that, or the other. Amazing. And there I don't say, "Oh, these things are false." No, it looks very real. So the Maya Shakti is the one that makes things appear to be real. So here Avyaktadini means that out of the Maya Shakti they appear and then they dissolve again. And so anything which is coming up is Maya Shakti. This Janma, just this one concept of being born, Janma. Janma means, of course, Mrityu also. So this is exactly what verse number 27 is saying. Jatasya hi dhrivo mrityuhu. Mritasya janma mritasya cha janma cha mritasya ta. Dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So this pair of opposites, so being born and therefore dying, is a very key concept for us to really understand. And in Vedanta, this is treated very carefully. Very carefully. Carefully in the sense that if you follow it, it takes you to timelessness. And I'll just give you a preview of this. This is interesting. I mean, even I was not fully cognizant of this, what I'm going to say, is that for most of even the Vedanta, Janma and Mrityu is discussed as though that is going to happen. But in the more advanced versions of Vedanta, I think I've mentioned it to you, that really just like we have how we go to college and read and become experts in a given subject, there is an undergraduate level. Then there is a graduate level. Take for example medicine. So I just want to make this point. This is an important one because this forms the basis of our next text, which will be Mandukya with the Karika. So I just want to build a little foundation just for a couple of minutes. So if you look at medicine, what happens is that in the medicine, some of the basics are given. Then you go to, so there's a 4 or 5 year. Then there is an advanced study of medicine where you specialize in a given disease. Then there is a period where you actually have to practice as a student, a physician. You're not allowed yet to treat people and so on. So there's a long period. And in each one of them, there could be some advanced way of looking at what the disease is. And anyway, a couple of examples are coming in my mind, but I won't go into it very much. So what it means is that in Vedanta, Janma and Mrityu are treated as, I wouldn't say real as a reality, but as a serious subject of discussion. This is still at the undergraduate level. At the graduate level, which is the experience and the teaching that goes along with it, says there is no Janma and no Mrityu. But you talked about it. I know we talked about it, but it was because it's just the beginning. You were not ready. If I had told you from the class 1 that there is no Janma, no Mrityu, you wouldn't even study. You'll say, what are you talking about? I see things being born, I see things being dead, and you are violating it. I don't, this is not the subject that I don't trust you. You don't know what you're talking about. So you won't even listen to me. So in the beginning, I have to make sure that you are okay with it. As you become more advanced, this is why the Karika by Sri Gaudapadacharya is considered to be the final word of Vedanta. And I must say that when we took it, 5 years ago, I must say that I really didn't understand. It was really more text oriented. I understood everything that was going on, but not the reality of the fact that the Janma and Mrityu are absolutely not possible anywhere. How can you say that? This is what we are going to study. And very interestingly enough, this whole fact did not become as meaningful for me, as effective for me, until I started reading lots of stories about Mahatmas in this book, which is a book of biography called Pavana Prasanga. It is a remarkable book. The more I study it, I do it every day, and I'm still only 3/4 of a way done. It talks about the Mahatmas saying there is no birth, no death. And so the Gaudapadacharya's view is the more advanced view that you must come up to. And all of the Mahatmas, this is the final thing. And then I realized, my goodness, because I was expecting, okay, so I should, I should just accept Janma and Mrityu. Don't accept it. It's not the truth. It's something much beyond that. Anyway, so this is what we have to, will aspire to, and I really look forward to explaining this. So I'm just saying it right now, but we'll explain it when we take up the next text, which is the Mandukya Upanishad with the Karikas, the 4 Karikas. Anyway, I'll go into that later on. So here, going back to this word Avyaktadini, so I won't go any more on this because I have a lot more to talk about. The second, oh my gosh, it's 9:49 already, okay. The second explanation of Avyaktadini, but so this is, the first one is that of Maya Shakti. Okay, this is the first. Then Sri Shankarananda ji takes up the explanation of Avyaktadini in a second part, which is, it refers to Atma itself, not Maya Shakti, which is a Shakti of the Atma. You should see the difference. So the Shakti of the Atma is one thing, and so you can do Avyaktadini based on the Shakti, or you can do Avyaktadini based on the real Vastu, reality, which is the Atma. How, that we will see in a minute. But I just want to give you one example. The flowingness is a Shakti of the water. See, showing flowingness is a Shakti of the water. So for example, when the water is held up in a dam and then suddenly made to fall on something, it has a power. So it actually generates electricity, hydroelectric power, by falling on something and making it move. So the flowingness of the water is the Shakti of the water, isn't it? It has lots of other Shaktis also. Coolness is another Shakti. But the power generation is a Shakti of the water. It is not a Shakti of iron, but it's the Shakti of the water. But is it always there? No. What is always there is the atomic constituent of water, which is H2O. 2 atoms of hydrogen combined with 1 molecule of oxygen, combined together in a very peculiar form, becomes water. That is the reality of the water. The movingness and the Shakti is not the reality of the water. So in that sense, the Maya Shakti is the ability of the Atma to become manifold and to become and to portray truth when it is not there. So you see, this is interesting. This is what is called if you want to see the, I think one very clear way to depict the Maya Shakti is the Nidra Shakti of the human being. See, the Nidra Shakti, the sleep, is not an ordinary power. Because an ordinary power may be that you can close your eyes. You see a lot of things, details, etc. You close your eyes, it's all gone. This is called just a hiding. Nidra is not a hiding. Nidra is a Shakti which allows the whole thing to disappear. I mean, just amazing that if you are injured and you are in pain and you sleep and the pain is gone for the time being. Incredible. So Shakti, not only that, but the Nidra Shakti allows an alternative universe to spring forth. It's a very powerful Shakti. So if you want to ever just see, some says, people will say often, I don't understand the Maya Shakti. What is this Maya Shakti? Just tell everybody, do you see your Nidra Shakti? Or if he doesn't quite understand it, you just reveal the Nidra Shakti as we just did. That is the Maya Shakti at a larger level. That's what it is. Anyway, so the first one is the Maya Shakti. Now comes the more important one, which is Avyaktadini, refers to the Atma itself. This is where now let us look into that. This is much, much more important. So, to introduce that, we go to the bottom paragraph on page 76. He says, Yadva. So, Yatva, Va. This is a very interesting expression in Sanskritam. Va means or. So, or means alternatively. Yatva means the one, alternatively the one is called Yat. Va. Pramanaihi sarvaihi na vyajyate vyakti kartum na shakyate. Iti avyaktam param brahma. In this sentence, a lot of truth is contained in it. We have to look at we have to open the keys of this very powerful sentence. Just one sentence. That's it. This is all meant for explanation. Yadva pramanaihi sarvaihi na vyajyate vyakti kartum na shakyate. And I'll explain this in a minute. Iti avyaktam param brahma. Tat agrahanadadi janma yesham tani avyaktadini bhutani shukti grahanat rajatavat atma agrahanat alabdva janmani. Beautiful. So he says, so you're ready for this? This is really just important stuff, honestly. Because we have talked about this before, but I just want to make sure that it becomes a key part of your thinking in life. This is where we can make a wrong turn. It's like a maze of life where we have to make sure that I'm going in the right direction and it will eventually to lead me to freedom. See? In a way, and it's exactly like this, that you are dropped in the middle of this maze and there is a way out. So you're not just moving around left and right, this, that, or the other. You seem to be enclosed in the walls. and there is a way out. There is a way out. It's not as though it's completely enclosed. There is a way out. But you have to understand how to get out. Because if you make a wrong turn, which seems somehow more inviting, the left turn is more inviting because for whatever reason, that's the one that I think I should take, is the wrong one. And you should avoid doing so. It's a very key thing that we should do that. And I will sketch out this key thing with this, and also give you the corresponding nature of this vision, of this explanation that we did in the Kenopanishad. And then I will wrap it up, both of them together. So I thought of that we have done this in Kenopanishad, and we need to really bring it up as part of this. So here's what it is. Okay. He says, now go back to it. He says, Yadva pramanaihi sarvahi na vyajyate vyaktum kartum na shakyate. So it says that it is not possible the Param Brahma, Paramatma, Atma, the same thing, Ishvara, if you want to call it, is not possible to appear in front of you. This is what our disposition is in life. Show it to me. Whereas, this is exactly what happens. You talk to people that, do you believe, are you religious? Do you believe in religion and spirituality and so on? No. You don't? No. Where is it? Where is God? Show it to me. And what, would God be in charge of this mess that we see? No, there's no God. Show it to me. They must be completely absent, otherwise you cannot have all these problems. These two trains got 56 people in Greece killed and so on. Would God allow that? There must not be any God. Anyway, so the whole idea, the skepticism is, show it to me. And so you tell someone, I can't show it to you, but it is there. That doesn't make any sense to me. You can't show it to me? And you are saying it is there? What is your logic? The whole teaching of Vedanta is to understand this, really speaking. And this is what he is saying, Yadva pramanaihi sarvaihi na vyajyate vyakti kartum na shakyate. So this is exactly, this is not the final thing that I wanted to do, but if you just look at the entire teaching of the Kena Upanishad, he says, Yat manasana manute yena ahuhu manomatam tadeva brahmatvam viddhi nedam yaditum upasate. He says, the one that you cannot think of as a vishaya, as an object, but the one that makes your mind think, that is the Brahman. This is number 5. Similarly, yad vacha anabhyutitam yena vak abhyudyate tadeva brahmatvam viddhi nedam yaditam. So it's always there, it is not the object that you see, but by which objects are seen. This is what he's saying. Yadva sarvaihi pramanaihi, by all the pramanas, na vyajyate, it cannot be manifest. Why cannot be manifest? I have eyes, I have, and I'm a scientist. I want to repeat. I want to understand. Everybody is doing that. All these, they're looking at some clues. You can do that for COVID, but not for Paramatma. Why? That is what we need to understand. Why cannot I see it? And there it says, please see. In fact, let me read a little bit more and then I will summarize it in terms of the concept. So let me read. He says, so we already done that. Tad agrahanadadi janma yesham tani avyaktani dini bhutani shukti agrahanat rajatavat atma agrahanat labdha janmani. Okay, so let's look at the example first. He says that because you do not see Shukti. Shukti means the mother of pearl. And I think the modern example which Swami Maheshananji had given, I think, is that of the silver inside a cigarette case. I think many of us that grew up in India would relate to it. In that time, there was so much smoking, and so people would actually discard the I don't know why they have silver inside the case of the cigarettes, but I guess it is to protect it or whatever. And so after you smoke the cigarette and then you've done with all of the cigarettes in a case, you just throw it somewhere. Not in the modern Swachha Bharat like Modi ji is doing, but in the old days you just throw it without any thinking. And so if somebody is walking around and there is a sunlight falling on this silver of the cigarette case and you don't see it very well, you say, my goodness, I think I found some silver coin. So this is the example. So here the classical example is Shukti, means that you're walking on a beach and you have a mother of pearl that is very shiny and looks like silver to you. So the ability to not understand that this is nothing but a mother of pearl allows you to have a false thinking that there is something very valuable. This is the example. He's given it here. He says, Shukti agrahanat, because of non-grasping, not understanding, rajatavat, rajata means the silver, like that, atma agrahanat labdha janmani. He says similarly, by not knowing the unchanging Atma, which is, as we saw in the meditation, which is the Viramaha of all the Triputis, the conscious entity that I am, which is the one that creates this vision, false vision. And because of that, I have a reality to the false vision. Because I don't understand the underlying adhisthana, and therefore the overlay on top of that, adhyasa on top of that, becomes very real. So this is the situation. So then the rest of it is tatha vyakta madhyani. Similarly is the vyakta madhyani, means that even though it is visible, I don't see the underlying adhisthana. Sarva vyanjayati iti vyaktani antakarana madhye sthiti kale yesham yani vyakta madhyani. And then it gives all kinds of variegation. Deva tiryak manushyadibhedam stri pumsadibhedam pitra putradibhedam aham mama aham iti ayam ityadi sambandha cha kalpayitva antakaranam eva prapanchayeti karoti tena vyakta madhyani. So he says that all kinds of things happen. Then there's women, men, and animals, human beings, devas, and so on. Everything is all vyakta madhyani. Why? And they all look very real. How do they look real? Because like looking at as though a pale silver, you don't understand, and the underlying thing you do not understand, which is nothing but the Atma, which is the Param Brahma. Okay, I have not given you the final word, which I want to go back to Kena Upanishad also. So I'm just giving you the definition of Avyaktadini, Avyakta Madhyani, and etc. So then he concludes this whole logic by saying, in the third line of the verse number of the page number 77, Yavat adhisthana adarshanam tavat tesham satta spuratyadini sa vasana antahkarana balad eva tasmat vyakta madhyani iti uchyante bhutani. That's exactly what we're saying. So he says, as long as yavat adhisthana adarshanam, as long as you do not see the underlying vastu, you don't see the silver in the cigarette case, until you don't see that, tavat, as long as you don't see it, satta spuratyadini. So all the reality, it looks like it is really, it is moving. You know, this is the classical example of the rope and the snake. As long as you don't see the rope, it even looks like that the big snake is moving. What is moving are your own thoughts. You kind of superimpose it on the snake. And you say, I swear I could see the snake. It is not the snake, it is harmless rope sitting there. Rope is the adhisthana. So as long as you don't see, that's what he's saying. Yavit adhisthana adarshanam. You don't see the reality of it. Tesham sattas puratadini, etc. He says that's what it creates to it. So I'm running out of time, so I want to go back to it. So there he says, I will go back to the ending point of this, and then we'll switch over to the conceptual thing that I want to convey. I'll just hold on for that for just a second. So there, he then concludes in the verse number 28 in the last 3 lines of this paragraph given on page 77. He says, Tatra, Tatra means in this subject matter, Marichi Jalavat Pratibhasa Matre Adhisthana Ajnana Vijrimbate Dehadi Prapanche Adhisthana Sandarshanena Sarvam Brahma Eva Iti Pashyataha Vidushaha Ka Paridevana Paridevanaya Avakashaha Kutaha Iti Artha. Therefore, he concludes the basic advice given by Sri Krishna to Arjuna, that if you are sorrowful nature, paridevana means you are crying and you are being sorrowful for something that doesn't deserve it. And it is only because you don't see the reality behind it. Marichi Jalavat. So there's another example. So as Marichi Jalavat means that just like if you go on a desert and it's a hot weather, then because of the heat reflected out of the desert, it looks like it is moving. There might be some water there. So many of the animals cannot understand. So they run towards it because they are very thirsty. And they go there and it's not there. And it looks like someplace else. So they go there, it's not there. So this is what is called Marichi Jalavat Pratibhasa Matrepi. Even though it looks like it is there, Adhisthana Ajnana Nivritta Jambhe. It is all created because of the Ajnanam of the Adhisthana. Similarly, Dehadi Prapanche, excuse me. Similarly, in the case of Dehadi, so our situation also is that my body, my mind, my sense organs, the things that it sees, the things that it cognizes, all look very real to me. Because I don't understand the vastu that I am. I don't yet understand. And so therefore, I give a false reality to it and I deal with it. I'm no different from an animal, from a deer who's thinking there is some water there. It runs towards it. There isn't. Adhishthanam Adarshanena Sarvam Brahma Eviti Pashyuta. He says that once a person understands that the whole thing is nothing but Parabrahma alone, then Vidushaha, for one who is who's wizened to this truth, the secret, that one who understands the secret, Ka Paridevana, there's no sorrowfulness to it. It is complete freedom. So this is what we will study in more detail in the Mandukya, that we look at the life of the Mahatmas. All of our problems in life are because we do not understand that what I am seeing is not the reality. I take this to be very seriously. I take it seriously, take it to be a serious thing. I don't understand this is just a play. The Mahatmas figure it out. And to them, no shokaha, no mohaha, is ananda alone. And this is what our goal should be. Okay, so this you see all that. Now let me go back to the basic thesis that I was talking about, and I'll connect it to Kena Upanishad. So what I think is key for us to see is so in a way, all of us are searching for an unlimited joy by wrong means. This is the left turn I was talking about, the fact that you don't get out of it because we keep taking the left turn over and over again. There's one turn that I've refused to take, which is this. This is what I'm coming to. I am looking for my happiness and satisfaction by one where the reality of who I am is not grasped, agrahanam, and instead the state of my mind is where I keep looking. This is called anyatha grahanam. Agrahanam means not understanding. Anyatha grahanam means then I project it to be, because my mind seems to be very close to me. In fact, I think this is me. So I keep thinking that the state of my mind determines who I am. State of my mind means what? If I have a happy state, then I am a happy person. If I am disturbed, then I am a disturbed person. And because of this confusion, I don't know who I am, because sometimes, and in fact I accept it. I accept the fact that I'm happy sometimes and I'm disturbed other times. I'm unhappy other times. This is what I just accept it. Variability. It never dawns on me that state of mind is a superimposition on me. Who is this me? Where do I find this me that the mind superimposed? And I'm looking for it. And I can't find it. So there the Shastra says, wait. Do you know you are not going to find it the way you are looking at it? What do you mean I can't find it the way I'm looking at it? This is the left turn that you're always going into. You are looking at the state of your mind as an experience and understanding what you are with respect to the state of the mind. Instead, please see, so the state of the mind also is time bound, isn't it? Not only time bound, it is space bound, it is vastu bound. So it is limited in every which way. That's the state of the mind. But the state of the mind is because of a timeless you, a spaceless you, always there. And because you're always there, you have these changing states, which is like your reflection. And so it is not to be seen in front of you. You are it. You are the very stateless person. You are the very timeless jnanam. You are the very conscious entity. Don't you see that all of these conscious states are because of you? This is where drishti, drishya, darshanam, viramaha, they all dissolve in you. You're always there. Always there means for how long? No, time doesn't appear. You are what you are. This is what we saw on this verse in Kena Upanishad. Because the whole Kena Upanishad, like all the other Upanishads, was to find out who I am. So there it says, not the one that the mind cannot grasp as an object, but the mind which is only possible because of the consciousness. So your drishti should go towards, it is because of me that there is mind. It is because of me there is seeing. There is no seeingness, no mind, no sense organs, no body without me. And I don't have to see myself. I am the only person that cannot be seen. And yet nothing is possible without me. This is the whole unfolding of the Vidya in the Kena Upanishad. And then, if you look at the explanation that we took, a lot of the Shankara Bhashya, etc., in the Kena Upanishad, there's a culmination of this in verse number 4 of the second khanda, second chapter, verse number 4. And I'll remind you of that. Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate amritam. This is a very key verse, and I said that repeatedly at that time. This is exactly what Bhagavad Gita is pointing out. Yadva pramanaihi sarvaihi na vyajyate vyakti kartum na shakyate iti avyaktam param brahma. Avyaktam param brahma. Avyaktam means that it is not necessary to be seen because of which everything is seen. So this is what is pointed out in the Kena Upanishad. This is pratibodha viditam matam. Here, and if you look at the Shankara Bhashya, he says that since we are doing some Sanskritam also, Pratibodha viditam bodham bodham pratividitam. Pratividitam means bodham bodham means in all experiences, in all perceptions, in all states which is there. There is no state which is possible without you. And not just your own jiva, but your atma, your paramatma. That you don't have to see. And if you want to see it, you see all experiences are nothing but point out to you the unchanging. This is the meaning of pratibodha viditam matam. He says there is no other way to look at the Atma but to see you're missing out yourself as the underlying, unchanging, timeless presence in all of your experiences. So this is what is called avyakta Atma, Brahma. So this is the second version, this is the second way of looking at this. Beautiful explanation by Swami Shankarananda ji, that avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata means that see the Atma, you, which is from which experiences are born. Janma is born, Janma is there. From which? Ajanma. So that's really the meaning. And then it stays there for a while. And it dissolves. And this is proven in a very nice hint by Ishvara by giving you nidra. The whole thing disappears. But so this is the trick. You have to see that even my projections during waking hours is nothing but like that. Badhita anuvritti. After that it is badha. Doesn't matter, your prarabdha karma will keep your body for a while, it has already been rendered unreal, falsified. You are the only unfalse person. Why? Because see it, that in all experiences you are always there. Can you deny that? No pramana will ever deny that. You cannot say, at this point I am not there. You cannot say that. You can never say that. So this is the beautiful explanation of the second explanation of Vyaktadini, Avyaktadini Bhutani. So I think we have covered verse number 28, and now we will go to the next verse next time, which is verse number 29. Okay. So with that, I close the class. Om Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Oh, really? The sound was gone for a while? That's interesting because I see the connection is there. So it must have been temporary. I don't know how that happened. Kirsten, hello. Haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're all good. Akshay, good to see you. So, 7th chapter. Yeah. Is this the central theme of the Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter? Well, the 7th chapter, I'll have to review to see if it is the central theme. But basically, the 7th chapter is the beginning of Ishvara's presence in the scheme of things. So, Tatpadavachya. So, as you know, the 7th through the 12th chapter, the middle 6 chapters, are not exclusively, but primarily on Tatpadavachya. The first 6 chapters are Tvampadavachya. So the 7th chapter is the beginning of the Tatpadavachya. So this doesn't seem very familiar to me that Vyakta Anavyakta is the only central theme of the 7th chapter. I don't think so. Vyakta and Avyakta, they are all over in Bhagavad Gita, as it is in the 2nd chapter itself, as we are discussing it. So this is a very fundamental part of the creation, and therefore the non-creation. So there is the truth of creation is non-creation. So this is what I was saying, that the undergraduate course is the creation and the graduate course is non-creation. And so it is a very fundamental part of the teaching. But whether it is accented especially in the 7th chapter, I don't think so, but I'm not sure. I'll have to review it. Okay, so para and apara prakriti. Yeah, it could be that in the 7th chapter it is talking about the same thing. So Rani, I think that if you were attending my last class, I don't know when we would start yet. My sense is that we will probably do it after we come back from the from our Sailorsburg retreat in May. Okay, so or maybe it could be sooner. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. Part of that is that all the books that I got, I'm missing a couple of key books out of there. That's why the delay is. Once I get the books, then I would ask the Hindi speaking people how many of you would like to get that, because the Mandukya with the Karika is going to be based on the Hindi translation, Hindi versions of Swami Akhandananda. So once the books are all available to you, then I would begin the class. So the timing of that is somewhat uncertain, but it would be in the next couple of months or so. Thanks, Akshay. I will look at the 724 and I will review it. Anyway, let me make one. I'll probably do this commercial many times. So let me make another attempt to say that if you could please join us for the retreat in Sailorsburg, that will be wonderful. Hope you can adjust your scheduling so that you can come to that. Yes, Akshay, I think that the Mandukya book should be available. That of course will be there, but I'm going to base my teaching on the detailed explanation of the Karika by Swami Akhandananda ji from his various experiences. So it can be added to what Puja Swamiji's Mandukya book is, but this would be much more of a Mananam and Nididhyasanam, the one with Swami Akhandananda. So yeah, we'll make that book also available for those of you, and we have done that already once before, where we actually took Swami Maheshananda ji's book. But I found the commentary by Swami Akhandananda ji is taking me to another level, and I'm very happy to share that with you. So we'll see. All right, good. Good to see all of you, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Hari Om.